It's time for another episode of Espresso Yourself with Chuck. And now, coming to the mic, your host, Chuck.
Welcome to another episode of Espresso Yourself with Chuck. Today, my guest is Heather Crump with United Way of the Plains, and Heather is the Community Impact Manager for Education. So welcome, Heather.
Good morning, Chuck. Thank you so much for having me. I'm very excited to get to speak with you this morning.
Well, we've been so excited to have United Way of the Plains as a partner. You have been so supportive of the organization statewide, but certainly in the Wichita area where we have a number of programs, and United Way really gets it, and we certainly appreciate that. And we'll talk about that a little bit later. But I'd like to talk about, to start with, your career path, a little bit about yourself, where you're from, and how you. Well, let's start with high school. Did you know what you wanted to do when you were in high school? And so we'll pick it up from there.
So I thought I knew what I wanted to do when I was in high school. I wanted to be a doctor. That is not how that went for me. And so I actually wanted to be a neonatologist, but I was a young parent. I had my first child at 19. And once I had kids, I was like, I cannot be around sick children. And so how else can I work with kids in a positive and impactful way? And so I changed my major to teaching at that point. And so I went to school. I was working full time. I didn't have Jack K at my school, but I would have qualified for the program. I came from a single parent home, lots of risk factors involved. And I knew for me, the education was my way out of that statistic. And so I made sure that I was working full time because, again, had kids young, and then found a college that had a night program for elementary education. And so I was able to participate in that and work my way through, and then taught for 10 years in the Wichita area in elementary and special education. And now I am at United Way, impacting education in a different way outside of the classroom.
Great. When going back a little bit, did you think you wanted to be a doctor for a long time and then life kind of changed, or how did?
I really wanted to be in the medical field. Of course, we all have childhood dreams. And so I really wanted to be a veterinarian first. And then I was like, oh, I can't. I love animals too much and it's sad. And so I was like, no, I'm going to work with people. And so while I was in high school, I got my CNA and my CMA and was working in the medical field and had every intention of going that direction and kind of working my way up from the bottom. And then just
Life changed.
Yeah, life gets you. So,
but it got you on a different path where you were able to still impact other people in a positive way. What grade did you teach?
I taught third grade for 6 years, and then I taught special education K-5 for the other 4.
Okay. And then at what point did you go directly into the United Way, or okay, so you did. How did that all work? Did you decide?
From the classroom, and went to United Way. It was something that, I really saw myself retiring from teaching. But as I went through and was in education, I was just really felt like I needed to impact things on a larger scale. And not teachers are incredibly impactful, but you have a small range of impact in the moment. We have the ripple effect in education. Things do expand that way, but I wanted to see a more immediate impact. I wanted to impact things now on a broader scale. And so I got to looking into what United Way was doing in our community, and Pete Nahara, our president and CEO, he says, we are colleagues, not competitors, partners, not rivals. And we really believe that. It really takes everybody working together to close the gaps in our community. And that really spoke to me. And so, working together with our community, we can make big change.
Did you start with United Way in your current role, or?
I did.
Okay.
So I came to United Way straight out of the classroom into impact manager for education. And so within this field, within the United Way, my impact is a little bit different. I was elementary focused in the classroom, but we are cradle to career here at United Way. And so we believe that education starts at birth, not at 5 when kids enter kindergarten. And so there's preparation and things that need to be put in place to help kids before they get to kindergarten. Then we believe in helping kids be on grade with their standards and their achievement. And then we move into our college and career readiness aspect as they get older, which is where JAG-K falls into. We also look at programs that help with GED completion because we realize that not everybody takes what we consider the traditional path.
Mm-hmm. I want to talk a little bit more about specifically the education component and the work done by United Way of the Plains. But before we do that, could you tell us just generally the service area for United Way of the Plains and some of the other areas in which you support the community?
Absolutely. So at United Way of the Plains, our service area is South Central Kansas. We have a 10-county service area, most notably Sedgwick, Cowley, Sumner, Harvey, Reno. There's 10 of them, but South Central Kansas is our focus. And we also support, in addition to education, we have health, financial stability, and basic needs. And so we are really working with the social determinants of health. We know that a healthy community requires many components. I also, as an educator, seeing it firsthand in the classroom, understand that kids cannot come to school and learn if their basic needs are not met first. And so there are really, all of our areas really work together. We cannot do any of these things without the other one being met as well.
And United Way helps a number of people and organizations in the community. But to do that, you need resources. And so there are a number of grants and I know company giving programs. How's United Way funded? And are there some opportunities for folks to get involved in that?
Absolutely. So we get grants and things just like many other nonprofits, but we also work on community donations. We do workplace campaigns where people can donate, pre-tax out of their paycheck. We do all kinds of different initiatives to raise money for the different services that we provide. Specifically, the thing that we're raising money for right now, spring is a fun time for education. But we are raising money for our Champions for Literacy, which partners with WSU. And our point for that is that we want to get books into the hands of kids. 3rd grade reading statistics are very startling. About 79% of Wichita students are not reading on grade level at 3rd grade currently. And so we want to help impact that. But we also know that in order to impact that, we first have to get books into the hands of kids. And so this initiative helps raise money to make sure that we can provide books to kids K through 3rd grade, and not just any books. We want books that represent the community. So we are looking specifically to provide books that feature characters of color, because that is what the kids that are reading the books, we want them to see themselves in these books. And, unfortunately, only about 10% of books feature characters of color. And so we want to make sure that we are making those accessible to our students.
Great. So switching now specifically to education and your area, what are, obviously JAG-K is part of that. And I'm interested later to know why United Way of the Plains supports JAG-K, but what are some of the other initiatives you have within your impact area?
Yeah, so within education, we really are focusing on 3 areas of need. These are the largest gaps that we see in the community. So we have our kindergarten readiness area, and with that, we do Dolly Parton Imagination Library. So that is one thing that we are able to partner with the Dollywood Foundation on and the state to make sure that every kid in Kansas can receive books for free in the mailbox between the ages of 0 and 5. And so we also support other agencies in our community through our grant process, like Child Start and Rainbows, to help make sure that kids are ready to go when they enter kindergarten. Then we have our on-grade achievement focus area, which is where our Champions for Literacy falls in that I just spoke about. We also have our Read to Succeed program, which is really awesome. We partner community volunteers with second and third grade students in the Wichita Public Schools, and those partners go in and listen to kids read once a week for about 20 minutes to not only build fluency and comprehension skills, which is really the point of the program, but it also is a mentorship opportunity where kids realize that, hey, people care about me. They want me to do well. They want me to be successful. I'm not isolated and alone. People outside of my school love and care about me. And so that is really the importance of that program. Within that pillar, we also look for agencies that support tutoring, mentorship, social emotional learning. And that focus area, the on-grade achievement, is really from kindergarten to 8th grade. We separate high school into college and career readiness because what, a 12th grader needs is very different from what a kindergarten needs. And so we want to make sure that we are adjusting for the needs of the students. And so in college and career readiness, we support programs like JAG-K that have amazing data around high school graduation rates, post-secondary success, whether it be straight into the workforce or college, trade school, what have you. Other mentorship programs, we partner with Rise Up for Youth, who has their Brotherhood and Sisterhood program, which takes place in the schools here in Wichita. And they provide mentorship, but they also get to do some interesting things like college visits, but not just to colleges. They might go see like a barber college or a trade school. And I think those options are very awesome. Some things that we don't always talk about. We kind of put kids on a track to a 4-year university, but there's so many other options. And it's really important that we let kids know what those are. And then of course, our GED completion partners that help, non-traditional students as well.
Right. And you mentioned the coaches for literacy. You also do scholarships for juniors and seniors. Can you tell us a little bit more about that?
Yeah, so we're very excited about our scholarship opportunity this year. The scholarship is the Aaron Joel Smith Memorial Scholarship, and it focuses on youth that give back in their community, so community volunteers. And our awards this year are larger than they've ever been. We're giving out a total of $50,000. So that award would be a $10,000, a $15,000, and a $25,000 award that can be used, of course, for a community college or a 4-year university. It can also be used for a trade school or a tech program, again, supporting many different post-secondary education opportunities. And so all that you need to do to qualify for this scholarship is to be a junior or a senior currently. You need to have 200 volunteer hours within your high school career. So start freshman to wherever you are now, and you have to live within our 10-county service area. The deadline for that is March 1st. So if kids are interested, they need to go to our website, unitedwayplains.org, and look at that application and apply.
Great. Well, we have several JAG-K students in that 10-county area, so we will hopefully we're letting them know now already, but we definitely will from this point forward if we haven't. You mentioned volunteer hours, and community service is an important part of the JAG model. Are there any volunteer opportunities with United Way if we had some students who wanted to do that?
Absolutely. So we always have opportunities, and sometimes they're with United Way specifically, and sometimes they're a partnership through United Way. And so we have our volunteertoday.org website that we partner with the nonprofits in the area for different volunteer activities. So we might not have something necessarily on site, although we do have our Give warehouse that often needs volunteers to help sort things. It is our warehouse where any nonprofit in our service area can come and shop for free and get supplies and things that they need for their agencies to help cut down on overhead so that they can then go and use that money that they would spend on supplies for other things. And so we have a partnership with Good 360. And so we get pallets of supplies, and we often need help volunteers to come in and sort supplies and get things out on shelves so people can come and shop that store. So that's one opportunity, but there are many, many others on our volunteertoday.org website where people can get connected to something that is, really meaningful to them. One of the things I do is volunteer with Meals on Wheels once a week. And so that is something that I find to be valuable use of my time. And so if you have a passion for it, we can find you a spot.
Great. Well, obviously, and you've mentioned a few of them, a lot of organizations, people get supported by United Way. JAG-K is one of those organizations, and there's a grant process. But can you tell us why, and you've alluded to this, but can you tell us a little bit more about why JAG-K was an organization United Way of the Plains felt was worthy of support with finances?
Absolutely. So just a little bit about our granting process, just to give some background, is we take the applications, but the community members are the ones that make that recommendation to the board. So they come into our offices, they read all of the applications in a particular area, and then they decide based on the application and other things like the metrics and data that you guys turn in with applications, that who's doing the work that's really closing the gap around the area that we are trying to close the gap on. And so with JAG-K specifically, college and career readiness, one of your big metrics is high school graduation, especially for those at-risk youth, foster care kiddos that have a really low statistical graduation rate. And you guys are taking that and just blowing it out of the water. And so you're really an agency and an organization that is helping close the gaps in the area that we see a need for. And not only does United Way as an agency see the value and the impact of that, but the community members that come in and read the applications and make those recommendations, they see the value in that too. And so those panels are made up of community members just like you and me. They are anyone that would like to participate in that process is able to come in and participate in that process.
Great. Well, again, we appreciate that and look forward to growing the partnership. There are a lot of opportunities to help students prepare for successful futures, and that's what we're all about. I'd like to shift gears a little bit because we reference career readiness. The people you work with, because I assume there are a number of employees working for United Way of the Plains. I've met several, all great people. But it's not just impact managers. There are a number of roles. So if someone was interested in working for an organization that helps people, what opportunities are there at the United Way?
So right now, we have all kinds of things. So we have our community impact team, which is what I'm a part of. It is our largest team at the United Way, and it covers a range of things. So one of the things that you may have heard of is 211. It is very similar to 911, but it's not life-threatening. So if you need help with rent and utility assistance, or if you need to help finding a food pantry or a child care provider or any other resource in the community other than life or death emergency, you can call 211 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and get an answer and connected to a resource in your area. And that's statewide. The 211 office located here at United Way of the Plains in Wichita covers 98 out of the 105 counties in Kansas. Kansas City takes that other few counties that are not included in that. But we get a little bit of information. It is anonymous, so we don't get name or anything like that, but we do get like, hey, where are you located, so we can connect you with the resources closest to you. And so that is an opportunity that we offer, our call center. We also have our COC, which is our continuum of care. It is part of our basic needs pillar, and we are really working hard to make our community a functional zero community for homelessness, which means that when someone enters homelessness, we have a bed for them. We are working with a housing first model and trying to understand that once we get someone housed, we can help them with anything else that they're experiencing, whether it be addiction issues or hunger or whatever. We need to get them housed first, and then we can attack the other things that they are, experiencing. So our COC team is really awesome working with that. We also have our Give team that I kind of spoke about earlier with our Give warehouse that helps our community agencies and shopping. We have our finance department that helps make sure that grant checks go out on time, and all of our other expenses. We have our philanthropy team that is helping not only get fundraising and donations, but getting the word out about what it is that we're doing here. We rely heavily on them to help spread the word of what is going on in our with our agency and out in our community. And then we have our marketing team, who is very, very awesome. They're a small but mighty team. There's 3 of them, but they really help get the word out about what it is that we're doing, so the community is aware of how it is that we are making an impact.
How many people are on your education team?
It is currently just me.
Okay.
I am it.
A team of one.
A team of one. Of course, there's always opportunities to expand that as things grow and change here at United Way. But we are a fairly small organization. We have about 40 employees that run all of the different areas. One of the things that I did not mention that I think is really important to mention is our underneath our financial stability pillar, we have our VITA free tax programming. And what that does is it's tax season. So it provides tax preparation for free to community members that make $64,000 a year or less. Taxes can be expensive to file. They can be stressful. And so we have trained professionals that are in our community. We have 16 sites across our service area to help community members prepare their taxes for free.
Right. You mentioned the website and some of the other services, also where people can go to volunteer. Is there something about United Way that you think people don't know, or maybe there are kind of misperceptions about United Way that you've heard that need clarification? Or do you think everybody just knows about United Way? You said the marketing team does a great job. But I'm just curious, is there something out there that people need to know that maybe don't know about United Way?
What I think is really important for people to know is that we are not a pass-through entity in terms of donor dollars. So people don't just give us money and then we turn around and give those same dollars back out. We have a multiple effect on the dollar that is donated through us. So for every dollar that is donated to United Way, we're able to turn it into $2.51 worth of impact back in the community, whether it be through grant funding, through our volunteer opportunities, our Give warehouse. There are many VITA free tax programming, 211, all of those things. And so we are able to multiply every dollar that is given to us and turn it back into more impact in the community. And again, many hands make light work. So partners, not rivals, colleagues, not competitors. We are working with JAG-K and all the other nonprofits and agencies in our area to make sure that the community is the one that benefits.
You mentioned in your own personal career journey that you changed paths. What are some of the things you've learned about being successful in your current career? What advice would you give to a young person who maybe is just starting out, maybe hasn't even decided what they want to do? What are some things that have served you well?
So I think it's really important just to start at something. I currently have a junior and senior in high school. My kids are trying to make those after, high school choices and what they want to do. And it is very overwhelming. There are a lot of choices. There are a lot of schools to consider, or do I even want to go to college? Not everything requires a college degree, and it's expensive. And so I think the idea is, if you know that you want to go to college, pick something. You can always change your mind. A lot of those degrees require the same gen eds. You can start something and decide later without it having a major impact. I had a lot of sciences under my belt in college that I turned out didn't need for my job, but it does make me have an overall better understanding of sciences. So when I taught third grade science, I had a really cool background that I could fill kids in with. Oh, did you know this or that? And so do I use it in my everyday life? No, but it does make you a more well-rounded individual. And so those things do pay off. The other thing is, some of us get to our adult lives and we've had a career for however long, and then you switch as an adult. Like, we continue to grow and adapt as humans. There's nothing wrong with that, increasing your skill set. You don't have to be a full-fledged adult at 18, turns out. On paper you are, but you get the opportunity to grow and change and adapt. Your life is very long. And so we want you to experience things and change and grow. So my advice to kids is just do something. You don't have to do it forever. Just make a choice. Those experiences, those learning opportunities that you receive are more valuable than you may realize at the time. And I also think that we learn more from our mistakes than we do our successes. And so when failure happens to you, I would tell my kids in my classroom, to fail means it's your first attempt in learning. That's what failure means. It doesn't mean anything beyond that. You take it as a learning experience and you move forward. And so when you experience those failures or those not as successful opportunities as you would like them to be, what is your learning experience? I make mistakes in my current job and in life, and you learn and you adapt and you move forward. And that is the beauty of things.
That's great. Final question. What do you do for fun?
Ooh, fun. So I'm really big into music. So I love concerts. Any opportunity I have to go to a concert, I absolutely do that. I also really love Disney everything. So if I could go live at Disney, I absolutely would. So opportunities to go there or to travel in general. And spending time with my family and my pets. I love animals. So just hanging out.
Great. What are your pets?
I have a couple. Well, so me and my fiance, we have 2 huskies, Annika and Akira, and they are awesome. And my kids at their dad's, we had 2 dogs with my ex that we share custody of as well. And so I have 2 Great Pyrenees as well. So big dogs. Big animals is what I like.
Yeah, that's great. Well, thank you, Heather, for spending some time with us. Again, we really appreciate you. We appreciate United Way of the Plains. And thank you for joining us on this episode of Espresso Yourself with Chuck.
Thanks, Chuck. I appreciate your time today.
Thanks for watching Espresso Yourself with Chuck. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you will subscribe to the channel and also check out all the videos on our Jobs for America's Graduates Kansas YouTube site.
Music for Espresso Yourself with Chuck is provided by Bensound Music at bensound.com. Thank you to our announcer, Kelly Newton, and producers Kim Ferdig and Don Meir.